If you've ever wanted to get into Marvel Comics but didn't know where to start, this video's for you. The best comic run isn't always the best place to begin. Everyone starts somewhere. If anyone ever makes you feel weird for being new, that's on them, not you. For each character, I'll tell you where to start and where to go once you're hooked. Quick thing before we start, if you're brand new to comics, you're gonna hear me say the word run a lot. I just mean a stretch of issues written by the same creator, telling one main story. And if an issue number sounds overwhelmingly big, don't worry, comics are really good at catching you up. I'm covering 5 Marvel heroes in this video. Starting with the GOAT, Spider-Man, then we're going street level with Daredevil and Punisher. Then after them, gonna go to the mutant side of the Marvel universe and tell you where to start reading Wolverine. And to end it off, we're gonna dive into Captain America. Who the hell doesn't like Cap? If I leave out any heroes you're interested in, let me know in the comments too. I might make a part 2 if y'all like this type of content. Anyways, let's get started with Spider-Man. The run that turned me into a Spider-Man fanboy was Ultimate Spider-Man. It's grounded, real, and relatable for any teenager in that age group of Peter in this run. It's emotional and hits all the important Spider-Man beats. Peter getting bit, Uncle Ben's death, Gwen Stacy dying, even though it's in a completely different way, and story to spoil a comic that's been out for over a decade, but eventually it even covers his death. And his return, but we don't talk about that. Don't worry if I just spoiled his death for you too though. It got spoiled for me, and I still wept like a baby reading the last few pages even though I knew what was coming. Really heartbreaking and an amazing send-off for the character. You see almost all his important villains and side characters. Some are different than the normal universe, but if you're just getting into Spider-Man, it's a perfect place to start. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end to Peter's story, and it's beautiful from start to finish. But if you're not trying to read over 130 issues, the next best run is Spider-Man Life Story. It's short, only 6 issues, but it covers a lot of important Spider-Man stories. And instead of Peter staying the same age for basically over 60 years, he grows old as time goes on. Spider-Man's great because it's easy to get into, and it really shows you who Peter is. You get his losses, his victories, and why he does what he does. But if you want to see a side of the Marvel Universe that's way darker and more intense, that's where Daredevil comes in. Same city, completely different vibe. It's way closer to the street side than Spider-Man. For Daredevil, it's not as easy as it is for Spider-Man. There's really no clear-cut place to start for him, other than the original Daredevil #1 from 1964. The only problem with that is, the writing from the OG comics is a little dated. You got Daredevil saying stuff like, "I'll be glad to, little chum," or "Sorry, playmate." You'll have to move lots faster than that. If you don't mind that stuff, then yeah, start at Daredevil #1. But if you want to read the more modern day version of Daredevil, you gotta start at Frank Miller's run, Daredevil number 168 to 191. That's way more like the Daredevil you're thinking of. Way darker, way more serious, and way better. Another great place to start is in the Daredevil Man Without Fear miniseries from 1993. There's only 5 issues, and a lot of the main characters in Daredevil's life show up. Everyone shows up from Stick to Foggy, from Elektra to Kingpin. The miniseries takes you through Matt's life from being a young kid who was just blinded saving an old man until he dons the iconic red suit. For Daredevil, I'd say read the Man Without Fear miniseries, and then after that, read Frank Miller's run. By the time you're done that, you'll be hooked, I promise. And once you read Daredevil like that, especially Frank Miller's run, you start realizing something. Daredevil's a guy who wants to do the right thing, but he's constantly holding himself back. He won't cross that line. The Punisher is what happens when someone completely ignores that line. For Punisher, I honestly have to say, Garth Ennis' Punisher Max is a definitive run for him. It shows what happened while he was at war in Vietnam, and what turned him into a murderous, rampaging monster. This is a separate, adult-only version of the character, not the main Marvel Universe. In Max, Punisher's family's death wasn't why Frank Castle became the Punisher. That was just the excuse he used to make himself feel better about what he's done. There's no other superheroes in Punisher Max. It's a completely grounded version of the Punisher that low-key could be walking around in real life, and you believe it. Frank is older, he's more angry, more brutal than ever. He is so brutal, bro. Like genuinely, if you're under like 13, do not read that shit. There's some wild stuff in there. Max also takes you deep inside Frank's head and his mindset. There's so many times you can clearly see what he's thinking as he's killing, and it's not as simple as you'd expect from the Punisher. And this is the part where I plug my shorts content because I post a ton of Punisher Max shorts. I covered a big chunk of the entire story up until now, so go check that out. If the grounded, more realistic version of the Punisher isn't for you, and you want to see Frank interacting with other heroes, then start at Welcome Back Frank, which is Punisher Volume 5, Issue 1 through 12. If you want to start reading Punisher, I'm going to assume you already know his family is killed in a mob hit. His origin changes constantly over the years, but it's usually always his family stumbling onto a mob hit, and then they die. Welcome Back Frank doesn't hold your hand and walk you through that again, but that run is a good starting point for the Punisher, if you're not into the gory, ultra-violent stuff and want a more comic book version. And now we're going from one feral beast to another, Wolverine. Yeah, if Daredevil felt confusing to start, Wolverine's history is even messier. Not in a bad way, just long. Wolverine has one of the best origins in Marvel. It's just been told in pieces, out of order, for decades. So instead of trying to read everything, you start with the part that explains why he is the way he is. When Marvel Comics presents number 72 through 84, Weapon X, there's 12 issues. They're short and sweet. They take you through the process of Wolverine going through the Weapons Plus program and getting the adamantium bonded to his skeleton. Once you see the torture and horror they put Logan through, you'll understand why he is the way he is. And it almost makes you feel bad for the guy. This is the best place to start for Wolverine, since it shows you exactly how and why he became the way he is. Obviously everyone knows he was born with powers. Not everyone knows how he got the adamantium skeleton. After you read that, you should jump straight into Chris Claremont and Frank Miller's miniseries, Wolverine number 1 to 4 from 1982. That run gives you really good insight into the character of Wolverine. In the first issue alone, you get a great sense for his powers and the type of man he is. Claremont and Miller's run explores deeper into the lore of Wolverine. Technically, we're not introduced to Mariko Yoshida in this run, but she plays a heavy role and ends up being one of the most important loves of Logan's life, and one of the few people who actually see him as a man, not a weapon. And finally, that leaves us with Captain America, probably the most moral character I've covered today. Captain America's lore runs deep. He's one of the earliest Golden Age superheroes after all. Where I tell you to start with Cap is Captain America Man Out of Time. It's a retelling of Steve going under the ice and waking up in the future. The whole story is told from Cap's point of view. You feel the confusion, the anger, the sadness, and eventually, the acceptance of a world that moved on without him. This is a perfect place to start because it's simple. Everyone knows he fought in World War II. Everyone knows he woke up decades into the future, but not everyone really understands what it felt like for Steve to wake up decades later with everything he knew gone. This 5-issue miniseries explores that perfectly, and even drops some deeper lore along the way. The series is emotional, clever with its storytelling, and it really puts you in Steve Rogers' shoes. And bro, you really feel for the guy. After that, jump straight into Ed Brubaker's run on Captain America, Volume 1, Issue 1 through 14. This is the first time where Bucky returns as the Winter Soldier for the first time, and it dives deeper into Steve and Bucky's World War II history, making that return hit way harder. That covers all the heroes for today's video. Before I wrap this up, let me break everything down one more time, ultra simple for you. For Spider-Man, just jump in at issue 1 of Ultimate Spider-Man by Brian Michael Bendis. It's a perfect beginner story. And again, if you don't want to read over 130 issues or don't have time, you can just read Spider-Man Life Story. It covers the important stuff and it's a unique take on Spidey. For Daredevil, read the Man Without Fear miniseries by Frank Miller, and then jump in at Daredevil number 168 to 191, the start of Frank Miller's legendary run. For Punisher, my definitive version of Frank Castle is from Garth Ennis' Punisher Max. But if over-the-top violence isn't for you, that's cool too. Start at Punisher Volume 5, Issues 1 through 12. Welcome back, Frank. For Wolverine, start at Marvel Comics Presents number 72 to 84, Weapon X by Barry Windsor Smith. Then move on to Claremont and Miller's miniseries on Wolverine, number 1 to 4. Finally, for Cap, you have got to read Captain America Man Out of Time first. And once you're done with that miniseries, you're ready for the big boy leagues with Ed Brubaker's run, Captain America Volume 5, Issue 1 of 14. And if you go and read all these and still don't know where to go next, just read the next comic in the series, bro. You don't need to read every single comic in order to understand what's going on. A lot of the comics will clue you in too, so you won't be lost as to what's happening. There's so many comics out there, it can be intimidating as hell to start reading them. Just don't overthink it. You're not doing anything wrong. There's really no right or wrong way to read these as long as you're enjoying yourself. If you need a good place to read all these, the Marvel Unlimited app is goated. Not an ad or anything. Please sponsor me. But I mean, it is a subscription service, and if you don't want to pay that, then readallcomics.com. If you like the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and if you hate it, tell me to go fuck myself in the comments. If you guys want a part 2 with more heroes or even villains, drop who you want next in the comments. Maybe I'll even do a DC version. Comics aren't about knowing everything. They're about finding the characters that stick with you. The rest comes with time. I mean shit, bro. I've been reading comics for almost 20 years, and I definitely don't know everything. I'll see you in the next one.